our please let us all mute our mics if we are not called to speak, please, so that we don't have please let us mute our mics. Because of interference, please. Okay, thank you. So we'll go to the first presentation now, because Sovio Hassan Elias FNIS. So I'm only just going to say a little thing I know about him, and then I know he will still update us and tell us more about him. So Sovio Elias Hassan FNIS is a distinguished registered surveyor of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and a respected fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. With a wealth of experience, he has made significant contributions to the surveying profession, notably during his tenure as chairman of the NIS Lagos State branch. His leadership brought about transformative innovations and programs that continue to impact the profession positively. As the CEO of Elias and Associates, Sovio Hassan has built a reputation for excellence in the field, with his firm providing top-tier services across various aspects of surveying. In addition to his professional accomplishments, Sovio Hassan is a seasoned SURCON examiner with many years of experience shaping the next generation of surveyors through his mentorship and expertise. He's a passionate advocate for young professionals, always extending his support to foster their growth in the industry. His dedication to nurturing young talents has earned him widespread respect and admiration among his peers. A true leader and visionary, Sovio Hassan continues to play a pivotal role in advancing the field of surveying in Nigeria. With this little introduction, I would like to welcome Sovio Elias Hassan, FNIS.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be in your midst. I was once there, so like the saying goes, as I am, hopefully you will be. So my dear colleagues, welcome on board. It's nice to be in your midst. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So we'll go to your presentation now, sir. You can have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, my dear colleague. And yes, I say this with all sense of responsibility, and the sense that I believe every one of you here, for those that have passed the exams and are now MNIS, like I said earlier, as I am, I look forward to you being, by God's grace. And for those that are sitting for the exams this year, yeah, I call you my colleagues. Don't mind, forget about the adjective, whether senior colleague or whatever. We are still colleagues in the profession, and together we'll build the profession to be better. I would say that the intention of SURCON, or the intention behind the formation of SURCON, is to determine the standard of knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become registered surveyors as members of the surveying profession. And that's why you have the SURCON Act. I tell you, I'm looking at it, I'm not going to tell you what exactly it is, but these are some of the off-the-track questions that some of the examiners will ask. What can you quote the SURCON Act, the Enabling Act? Can you really quote it? So just note it and have it at the back of your hand. It's not as at the time that you are asked that you start looking at the books. It is important you know some little things. This is part of paying attention to details. And of course, SURCON on its part keeps reviewing standards from time to time as circumstance may require. Definitely, as at the time we went through this process, the standards have improved. Have improved in the sense that in our days, we are basically, trained as analog surveyors, analog both on the field and even in the office. But of course, for some of us to be on the page of relevance, we are choosing to update and upgrade ourselves. And I have to tell you that whatever it is you are doing digitally now, it still follows the same principle that some of us were brought up with and in analog manner. Now, talking of acing your folio, certain expectations are expected of you with regards to your folio presentation. And I want to believe you guys have the SURCON guide that talks about that. I tell you, there aren't going to be compromises as far as that is concerned. Let me tell you this, and this is to actually show up your preparation rather than the other way around. While we were examining last year, for instance, I was in a group that we had, in which we had about 13 or 14 candidates, and I tell you, it was a heavy group in the sense that for the three of us there, one is a professor in the university, one is the Surveyor General of a state, and my humble self. And you can imagine the kind of questions we will ask. On very thorough look at those projects, or folio rather, and even the way the candidates perform. We have the opinion that perhaps only 3 will go out of the 13. And that's to tell you the kind of how strict the questioning will be, how we're going to size you up, right from the time you come in, the manner in which you make, in which you present yourself. I mean, your appearance, like the saying goes, you'll be addressed the way you are dressed. Your appearance, your comportment when you enter into the room, before we now start talking of what exactly you have brought before us. Don't be surprised if I start asking you, when you come in and possibly meet me, that's what exactly do you know about the Nigerian economy? Because we are supposed, I mean, we are players in whatever happens in the country. And because we are surveyors, you can call us the first responders or the people that blaze the trail in any developmental project. That is who the surveyor is. So we must be in the know about how the happenings in the country will affect the profession. So we can veer in that direction and will not actually be off the track. We can choose to ask you about the SDGs. I mean, have it at the back of your mind. Imagine me asking you, how many governors do we have in Nigeria? You are likely to say 36 governors. But don't forget that even the person in the central bank heading it is called the governor of central bank. Perhaps you can, in a jocular manner, call him the governor of money. Yeah, that is him, and he is a governor. We can choose to ask you things that are out of your direct presentation. And this is why it is important that aside from your folio, which I'm still going to address in the course of this talk, you have to know about the happenings around you, both within your states where you're coming from, in Nigeria, in Africa, and of course, the world over. Having said all of this, you can expand the scope beyond what I've actually talked about. We expect you to be somebody who has an all-round knowledge. Why do we actually do this? Imagine you speaking to a lawyer who wants to give you a job. You need to actually make him understand that if he calls himself learned, you are a specialist in your field as a surveyor. He wants to kind of interrogate you, but if you are smart enough, you'll be the one that is actually interrogating him. Many years back, for instance, as a practitioner, I met a couple who were going to carry out, the couple was going to carry out invited me to carry out the survey of a property for them. And incidentally, the husband happened to be a lawyer. I wouldn't know what exactly the wife does. And the husband was already telling me there and then that the survey will carry the name Mr. and Mrs. Hassan Elias, for instance. And I told him, no, to make it more explicit, why don't we make it this way? Mr. Hassan Elias and Mrs. Simiat Elias. You know what? The wife was fantastically happy because one, the lawyer on his own part wasn't thinking the way I was thinking, and the wife was particularly happy. You know what? The things that do happen in matrimonial homes, that, wow, Surveyor, you are fantastic. It was the winning thing for me to get the job because the wife saw that, the wife saw it that this Surveyor is protecting her interests as the wife. How they got the land, their contributions, none of my business. But that makes it more detailed. And in recent times, cases have been lost in courts because the surveyor did not put appropriate title. He simply put Mr. and Mrs. That's as a side note, where I trained, who I thought to do it that way was because there have been many cases where the woman will have slugged it out, will have struggled to put things together with the man, and the man will simply send the woman packing. At the end of the day, bring in another woman, and it is that woman that is still Mrs. That. And it is actually to avoid a situation like that, that surveyors put on their thinking cap and do that which is right. Gentlemen and ladies, let me come to your folio. There are rules for folio submission, and there are certain rules that the examiners on their own part will play. If this will be a reminder, I think you know that one of the things that will make your folio acceptable is the fact that you must have satisfied 2 years mandatory pupillage before putting in for this final professional exam. And I say final because there are some that are coming from down below, technician, technologists, and all of that. But it's like the way things are going, that one will be a past tense in the course of time. And it is actually because of what are the things that have been observed with regards to the way the candidates present themselves. Secondly, the person submitting the folio is expected to be in full employment in an approved office. And an approved office, they have raised the bar now that whoever you are going to, whoever is going to be your supervisor, I think it's now 5 years instead of the previous. Even a candidate that got registered yesterday can be your supervisor. And it is to enable you actually gather a lot of experience along the line. Of course, as a candidate, you must have been accredited by your supervisor. The things I'm talking about, of course, will also affect the government offices where you have the Surveyor General as the head. Of course, I don't think anybody will just become a registered surveyor last year and rise to become the Surveyor General this year. And to that extent, all of those guys are well covered. And of course, whatever it is you are presenting must have been properly authenticated by your supervisor. Please, you have to ensure this. And this is why we ask whoever is coming for the exams, rather presenting a folio. It's not a case of, wow, the whatever exam is coming up in the next 2 months, and you start running helter-skelter. No, what we actually want to examine in you is the experience you have gathered over a period of time. And it's not, if you are serious about it, a folio is not something you just put together within 2-3 months. No, it shouldn't be. It must be a thing you have been compiling over time. If all of the works that you did to present, you did that you're presenting your folio will be works that simply span between some 2-3 months, you are not likely to find it funny with your examiners. It means the question will be asked, over the years, what have you been doing? Over the years, what have you been doing? And of course, we admit that you can be many with your supervisor, and it is expected that your supervisor will have many assignments. So it's not a case of you reporting the same thing. Otherwise, when that is discovered, you may actually be sanctioned. Let me tell you this. I recall that last year, one of the things we spoke about was trying to install a software, because you guys are going to submit soft copies, a software that will actually detect plagiarism. Whether that has been done this year or not, I do not know. So if you have SURCON writing back to you to say you have plagiarized, you are not original, SURCON knows what exactly it is talking about. So you need to be an original. You must have participated in the project. In fact, what we expect of you is to own whatever project you are bringing forward. And that is when we can actually be convinced that you participated as the lead person. If you are coming to do the exam and you are a project surveyor somewhere, you must have gotten to a level that your principal will be confident enough to say, lead this project, and you report back. This is why report writing is actually very important. If you have not been used to it before, you might find it difficult to actually put up such a write-up. Let me digress by saying, ladies and gentlemen, that of course, for some of us who were brought up in those old days of yours, if you can refer to us as that, we pay attention to details, to spoken English, to spoken grammar, to your manner of presentation. If I open a page, for instance, and I ask you what exactly do you have there, you might have written very good English. Maybe somebody helped you out. And by the time you are speaking to me, you are putting the cart before the horse. You are speaking in present tense about a thing you had done in the past. For me, I pay attention to details. And I believe a lot of other people too also do that. Gentlemen, I'm a Yoruba person. I wouldn't know from what part of the country you are from, but the fact remains that English remains a lingua franca. And Pidgin English is not an acceptable one when you're talking of official matters. We are saying all of this because at the end of the day, as a surveyor, you are going out there not just to represent yourself as a surveyor, but to represent that body, the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, and very importantly, SURCON, which is regulating the people that are going into the practice of the profession. So learn the use of language. And like I always say, even many of us, we still do. When I'm coming up with a write-up, even text message, for me, details do matter. When I'm sending text message out, I take time to read and reread so that I correct whatever I think is incorrect there. And thank God to Professor Google, it's always there to be referred to as long as I have data on my phone. So don't let your phones just be for watching TikTok and all of that. And I say this with all sense of responsibility, because we look forward to bringing people who are going to even better than us, because you are good with the use of the modern softwares. Also, let me say that when you are presenting your folio, having been to the field, there will simply be a single original copy, which perhaps will be left in the office, because you're actually reporting what you did, and the copies will be in the office. However, the photocopies, please make it clear, and clear enough so that your supervisor will sign them as having, as being a representation of what he's having in his file in the office. And while your supervisor is doing that, his year of registration with the council must reflect, because these are some last-minute checks that you can that can happen even at the point of the oral interview. You must have been told that the folio itself that you present is 50%, while the oral interview is 50%. And this is where one cannot overemphasize it, overemphasize the fact that but your presentation must be a thing, that will flow. I recall many years back, a pupil surveyor, to God be the glory, is now registered, was with me. He had just come into our outfit, and at that time I had to make a presentation to a family. Incidentally, the family happened to be that of the former head of state, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, and they brought some people together. Now, incidentally, they invited many surveyors. One lesson that happened at that time that I want you guys to know, that didn't happen at our own time at that time, and it was regrettable, was that ordinarily, when I got to know the surveyors that were invited, some of them my senior, okay, no, perhaps only one was my senior, others were my junior. I spoke to them to let us come together and present a common front. But as it were, they didn't. I didn't invite them by way of trying to chicken out, not knowing what to present. I knew my proposal was going to be perhaps the one that will win that job. And I tell you, it actually did. But the way it happens in Nigeria, it was somebody else who never participated that got the job, and he had his fingers burnt. But one thing I'm trying to actually say is that despite the fact that I prepared the proposal and had it properly bounded with copies that I intended to distribute to the group that was going to examine me or interview me or interrogate me, as it were, at that time. When I got there, they were busy with one of the surveyors. And there and then, I was reading through the proposal. So the pupil surveyor who was with me then, and I told him, I'm teaching you, I told him then that I was teaching him a lesson, and it was, the lesson was basically that, notwithstanding that I wrote it, I wanted to read through it so that by the time I'm making my I will be making my presentation, it will be a case of the thing flowing, and for those people to know what exactly, to know that I knew what I was doing. And I tell you, to God be all glory, by the time I made the presentation, the presentation of the people ahead of me took some time, some up to an hour, 30 minutes. I was the last person. Mine did not last up to 10 minutes. By the time I made my presentation at that time, the person who led the group was saying, when Captain so and so was saying, I'm going to present a surveyor with a difference to you. We said, what's the big deal about a surveyor? But I tell you, part of the things I told them was, it was going to be a big parcel of land. It was going to be shared and whatever. I exemplified by letting them know that for somebody who wants to distribute bread amongst his children, he has to know the number of children, he has to know the size of the bread, and he will now determine how he will share it. They were blown away with that example, that I could liken what appeared so complex and big to them with distributing loaves of bread to children. And that is the kind of thing one expects to do. Let it flow.
David, is he here?
Let it flow from you as something that you actually did. Maybe that's an expo. So if you were not the one who did it before, go and kind of pick it up and try to memorize it, so that by the time you are making your presentation, it should not be a case of necessarily looking into the books before you talk to us. all of those things do count. And the person who is examining you is taking account of all of those details. And that's why we say the project that's submitted by the candidate must have been the project you executed. If it was a project that you picked up from somewhere, and you think some of us will not know, you are getting it wrong. No matter how digital it is, I tell you, we may not be able to operate all the softwares, but we still have our heads on our neck as supervisors invited by SURCON to actually interrogate whatever it is you are coming up with. Very importantly, you should be systematic in your presentation. Yes, I know the presentations that I've seen, you come up with a literature review. The literature review that many of you guys come up with becomes unnecessarily too much in the sense that you don't use technical words to describe whatever it is you are talking about. Don't forget, you are talking to experienced surveyors. You are speaking to experienced surveyors who know their onions and who expect you, to use technical words to describe situations. Now, when you use technical words to describe situations, it is understood. But don't be surprised that in some instances, that's the examiner will ask you some questions just to be sure you know what exactly you are talking about. You can't be talking about, for instance, residential layout and be talking of, and be describing about, something that happens with regards to laying out a marketplace. One, it will show that you perhaps were not the one who wrote up the folio. Somebody else did, and you are careless enough not to have run through it so that you know what exactly you're going to tell the examiner. I have chosen to show my face. I know many of you know me, but perhaps in case you do not know, this is me here. And perhaps the lesson that I want to also pass with that is, notwithstanding that I'm doing this in the comfort of my home, I still have to present myself to you. I'm not in a wrapper. I'm not putting on a t-shirt. I prepared myself like I'm coming to an exam. So if you are coming to meet the examiner in your own part, that's to say you have to comport yourself properly. Like I told you, I'll be digressing one way or the other along the line. Yeah, having done the literature review, your style of reporting should be systematic, one thing after the other. You can't come up with the recce after you had presented the results. We will ask you, but your recce should actually be leading to whatever it is. I mean, when you want to carry out any assignments, what I usually advise is you start the assignment from the expected results. It is your expected results that will inform the kind of reconnaissance and preliminary things that you do. And many times you add value to whatever it is you do beyond the expectation of the client. This is what will bring the client another time when they are asking for a professional to handle such jobs for them. I'm saying this because beyond you passing the exam, you are going to use your certificate to actually practice. So it is what you're able to present properly that will inform your style of practice when you go out there. I must also say generally that one discovered that for many candidates, they are bad with coming up with sketches. I mean, sketches alongside their reconnaissance. It's a thing you have to learn. In our own days, as people surveyor, honestly, I say this without necessarily bragging about it. We were actually taught to come up with drawings so that even talking of scale, it will almost be representative of the scale at which those things happen. And where you have what one can call a general drawing covering the entire space, you can have some areas that will need some peculiar details. You can now circle that and refer to such a place with an with indices like A, B, 1A, 1C, and you now go to another page to blow it up so that everybody sees what exactly it is you are trying to achieve with that. And by the time a comparison is being made between your reconnaissance, the final result, and of course, final result which will come in the form of a plan, either it is land surveying, engineering surveying, hydrography, even mapping, right? There will be a proper correlation between what you started off with and what you are ending up with. Gentlemen and ladies, I want to advise that with all of the things that I've said, try and carry out a review of whatever it is you have done, run through and see some consistency in whatever you are presenting. I tell you that your folio is unnecessarily big, doesn't score you that big mark. If it is compact and you have all that is expected of you in it, then you are good to go. But if it is bogus, such that, no, because I tell you one thing, the examiner doesn't have all the time to read through your folio. He will look through some areas that are vital. But I tell you, having said this, some of us do have time to read through almost all the pages. And that's why usually when we go for this folio grading and eventually oral interview, many of us will have sleepless nights. It's a lot of work because at the end of the day, we are simply trying to ensure that those who go into the profession will be those who know what they are doing. And like I always say, by the time you go out to carry an assignment, whatever it is, and it is your client that is dictating what you do what you are supposed to do to you, then forget about it. You are not a professional. And that's not the kind of professionals we are trying to bring up within the profession. If my words sound difficult or harsh, sorry, that's just me. Because I believe as a professional, you have to be intentional about being a professional so that you don't bring disgrace to the profession. Having said all of this, by way of paying attention to details, we usually see folios that are bounded in various funny colors. The color that the folio is supposed to be must have been sent to you. You want to say it doesn't really matter. Many people do this binding at the very last minute so that you can meet up with a submission at Abuja. If you do it well ahead of time, the person going to bind the thing for you will not come up with a funny color and say, this is what is available in the market. No. If that is what is available in the market, then you just get the mark that is available from the examiner. And that is bad enough. It may actually run against you. So, gentlemen and ladies, be detailed, be intentional about what it is you are going to do, set out to own the projects that you are doing by running through it, rehearsing it, and learn the use of appropriate words in describing situations. All of these are the hallmark of professionalism, and that's what we look forward to you guys coming to do. Perhaps I need to say that talking of comportments, intentionally, I didn't go into the details at the beginning. Your dressing has to be something proper. Some guys last year, because they were told to come in complete dressing, some came in Agbada, Babariga. It had negative score on them. I tell you, if you are going out for a business presentation, you know the way you present yourself now. As a professional, dress smart. That's what I will simply say. For those of you who choose to go and buy a 2-piece suit, 3-piece suit for the occasion, honestly, you have gotten it. I know some people will be wondering why someone like me is talking against Babariga. No, it's not it. Even I say, the way things are, many times, how many times have you seen Mr. President, the current president of the country, in Babariga? The way he dresses shows that he's out for business, ready to roll up his sleeves to do the dirty job if there is the need for it. And that really is the case, should be the case with you guys as surveyors. Don't just enter the room and then like you are going to talk to your mates, just pull the seats and just sit like that. You'll not be told anything, or you might not be told anything, but all of these things do matter. And you just discover that one minus there, another minus there is bringing down the 50% that you are supposed to score during what is it called? During the oral interview. So do your due diligence, approach senior colleagues who have passed through the process, not last minute, because when you do it last minute, he also has a lot of things that is chasing after, or that are chasing him all over the place. So if you want him to have time for you, you approach him in good time so that he can take his time to look through whatever it is you have done and then correct. And then you can make your presentation. And of course, take your time to make the presentation to whoever is supervising you. And if your supervisor will be diligent enough, he might even invite some other persons because of you to listen to your presentation so that you have done the exam before the exam. And having said all of this, I wish you guys very well. But prayers alone is not enough. Do your due diligence, and I pray that you meet with the soft heart of the examiner. I thank you for listening. And like I always say, I always love to have myself around you guys. Thank you very much for inviting me to do this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Surveyor Azan Elias, FNIS. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. Thank you for the advice. Thank you for the answer. I hope we all on this call have learned one new thing or the other as regards the second exam. So we'll be taking the questions and answer for this first session. We can also thank you to our daddy in the chat box if we want to. Then if we have questions, we can drop it in the chat box, or we can also raise our hand to ask our question orally, verbally. So do we have any questions? I think we have a question on the group chat earlier on, which says, for a route survey, do I need to attach the notice and counter notice from the Director of Federal Survey to my folio? What if I don't have access to the documents?
All right. Thank you.
Yes,
thank you. It's important. I mean, we want to see that you actually had a brief to carry out that assignment. Although I know many times people go out to carry out the route survey without being asked to, they're just wanting to have something to present. But honestly, it's something that we'll ask, and then we want to listen to whatever explanation that you have to see how convincing it is. Where you have it, it is a plus. And this is why sometimes you discover that some supervisors will, can I say, loan you to another surveyor where they have such convincing projects like that, so that you can gain some good experience from that end. So what all of the things that you are presenting may not necessarily come from where you are doing your pupillage, but there has to be notice to that effect from your principal, to the effect that you were seconded to this outfit to enable you gain experience. I don't know whether what I've said has answered the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, it has answered the question, sir. So we have Mr. Sam Awodiran raising his hand. You can have the floor, sir. Ask your question.
Good evening, sir. My name is Samuel Awodiran. My question is, let's say you mentioned literature review briefly during your presentation, sir. So I just want to ask, our project report now being a technical report, because I've checked through some projects, some have literature reviews, some doesn't have. And my question is just that being a technical report is not an academic report. Is it necessary to have a literature review? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. There is the need to have a literature review. Whatever it is you are doing, it's not unlikely that you will be the first person to do it. And this is why this is the essence of literature review. You look at such things being done before, even where the scope you are covering will be higher than that of the literature review. When you carry out your search, you discover that something of that nature has been done before. I'll give you an instance. One aspect of surveying that is just coming up is what's the technical word for it? Strata survey. I wouldn't know strata survey. I wouldn't know whether you understand what exactly is meant by that. You discover that in some areas, buildings are raised. I mean, you have a block of flats, and each person has bought his own apartment, and he wants a CFO for it, either to use it as collateral or because of the future, so that when it's no more, at least there can be authentic certificate of ownership from the government. You do strata survey. The person on the ground floor is different from the person on the first floor or the second floor, and on like that. If you were at the last meeting, that was why I was calling for us to come together so that we can standardize the way we present such. And it is an example of such a thing. But that's not to, I've done strata survey before. I did it my own way. And honestly, I believe, because I took my time to read through literatures on what's been done in some other climes before carrying out mine. Although I had issues with those in the ministry, that will always be there, because the way it is many times when you guys get there, having just gotten registered, you want to impose your knowledge on me, and many times I don't take that. You have to convince me why you are asking me to do something else. So it's important. Strata surveying is taken off from the normal 2D survey, cadastral survey that we do. The only difference this time around is that you are going 3D. So I can start by way of reviewing the style of doing 2D survey and then extend it to 3D survey, which also involved the height. And that's to say, each person is occupying a particular space. So you always need literature review. You want to know where exactly you're coming from. You are not doing anything new. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. If you still have any question, you can drop it in the chat box. We have a question here again, sir. The person is asking, if my supervisor grants me permission to join another surveyor on site as a team leader for a project, and I choose to use that project as one of my SURCON projects with the surveyor's approval, who would be authorized to certify the report for that project and sign the survey plan?
Thank you. The survey plan will be signed by the surveyor that owned that particular job. If your supervisor will sign it as his own, he will have plagiarized, and that is not acceptable. So that guy, that other outfit will sign it, and there will be a note to that effect that you were seconded to go and carry out the assignment there, so that you can have something to present, so that you can have vast experience. Of course, we all know it's so that you can have something to present for your examination. So it has to be the other guy, not your own supervisor.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir. So I think the last question that we'll be taking for this session before we move to the next session will be, the person is asking if a native dress is allowed for folio defense, or what type of native is presentable. That's what the person is asking. Yes, sir.
Okay, as you can see me, I'm in what is called, I can't say this is native. You can call it corporate. Perhaps the only thing I didn't do, and my cap is just beside me here, is to put on a cap. We want you to present yourself as complete. Well, maybe by way of demonstration, let me just quickly do that. Well, it's not the case of talking alone, but doing what I should do. Now, a situation like this is not out of place. The way I am, I can walk into any office to say I'm going to defend a proposal, or to present a proposal, or to say I'm going to defend it. That's the way we want you guys to appear. But honestly, by the time I am in the Bariga, as it is, Agbada, I mean, you have to, I believe you need to appear, I don't want to use the word humble. You have to appear serious. You have to appear serious wherever you are going. And if I decide to go you have to appear serious and respectable in the way you go. But by the time you go in big flowing gown and all of that, and the person you are going to meet perhaps, he might look at you as, what's the matter with this person? Yeah, go in a native dress, but I would say native dress with caution. If you say native dress, my brother from the Delta, for instance, will perhaps tie a wrapper. I don't think that is good enough. Are you with me? I don't think that is good enough, please.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you can ask from some other areas.
Yes,
but I'm
thank you.
telling you what is practicable and things we normally do amongst ourselves.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really do enjoy your session. We really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your experience with us. We are very grateful. We would still love to have you on this call while we have the second session, because we might still have questions that you'll be able to attend to us after the end of the webinar. So we want to say a very big thank you to you, sir.
You're welcome.
For granting us this opportunity.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, so we'll be going second session immediately, while I call on Mr. Ola Lekan Idris to read the citation for our second speaker. Mr. Olalekan Idris, are you a discusser? Mr. Olamilekan Idris. Okay. Can Mr. Abolade Olawuyi help me take that up, sir? Mr. Abolade Olawuyi, are you on this call? Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sulaiman.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sulaiman Bilamin Oyewole. So I'll be taking us through the citation of Surveyor Iribogbe Acing. Iribogbe Acing is a distinguished registered surveyor with the Surveyor Council of Nigeria and the founder and CEO of SC Geomatics Limited. He's an highly active member of the Nigeria Institution of Surveyors, NIS. Acing has contributed significantly by serving on various state-level committees. From 2019 to 2021, he held the position of State Coordinator for the Young Surveyors Network, Lagos State Branch, where his leadership brought transformative programs and training initiatives that continue to benefit the network today. Acing holds BSc degree in Surveying and Geoinformatics from University of Lagos, and he graduated with first-class honors in 2008. He also holds master's degree in Surveying and Geoinformatics from the same University of Lagos. He graduated with distinction in 2014, the same year he was registered to practice the surveying profession. Surveyor Acing holds a master's degree in water science and engineering with specialization in hydroinformatics, including modeling and developing information system for water management from IHE Delft Institute for Water Education in Delft, the Netherlands in 2021. Through the highly competitive Orange Knowledge Program, OKP scholarship funded by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, he conducted intensive research in flood risk and water management using physical-based as well as AI-based model, and he was greatly succeeded. He is currently pursuing a course-based master's degree in geoinformatics engineering at the University of Calgary, with a focus on gaining additional geomatics technical and research skills needed for his personal professional development and in pursuance of his PhD. His expertise spans geomatics, GIS analysis, flood risk and water management, environmental modeling and management, data analysis, and artificial intelligence. He is a devoted family man. Surveyor Acing is happily married with beautiful children, and outside his professional pursuit, he is a lover of God. So permit me to open the floor for Surveyor Iribogbe Acing.
Thank you, sir, for that wonderful citation. So, Surveyor Acing,
Here I am. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. It's really good to be here. I'm happy to be back, kind of. I know I've kind of been away for some time since I handed over 2021 and in 2020, yeah. So I handed over. I've not really been as active as I should be with Acing. So please, I'm sorry, forgive me. But of course, I'm in the know of everything that is going on, and I'm glad we're moving forward. So good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be here. It's good to see you all. And I would like to appreciate my own father, Surveyor Hassan Elias. Just so you know, I had my IT with him. I had my industrial training. As a matter of fact, he was one of the few people that introduced the practical and professional aspects of surveying to me. growing in this profession, and that was in 2006, 2007, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you so much, sir, Sovias and Elias FNIs, for supporting Wise and Lagos. God bless you, sir. Thank you for being here, sir. God bless you. So I wouldn't want to waste our time. I feel that Sovia Hassan Elias FNIs has already said a lot that would help us, that would actually guide the candidates for SURCON. But I would want to add some things to it, and I have a presentation. My goal is to share my story. You know, my story is peculiar to me. Every other person's story is peculiar. If you talk about SURCON with different people, they will tell you different things based on their experience, their preparatory experience towards the SURCON exam. And I would like to can I share my slide? I have a brief slide. I hope I can share.
Yes, you can share, sir. You're not a co-host. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good. Can you see me? Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can. I don't. Yeah,
fantastic.
I can.
Okay, so sorry, permit me. Good. So SURCON examination, Folio preparation, and word presentation. Good. Good. So my story and advice. That's basically what I want to share today. So in 2013, I took and passed the SURCON examination to get. It was something I wanted to do. You understand? I never really wanted to. I had my own ideas. I had my own vision. I had my own thoughts. There were things I wanted to do with my own life and profession. So I felt that it would be easier to do that as a founder. That's the truth. So and I knew that for me to found something that is true, that people can reckon with, I should have my SURCON done and dusted. So I didn't waste too much time. I just went ahead for my privilege and I went to my SURCON examinations after school, after NYSC. Yeah. So I took and I passed the SURCON exam in 2013. Then February 2014, I was inducted to practice officially. So of course I passed in 2013. I got notification of my results in November 2013. So obviously February was the induction. And from what I heard, I don't know how true it is, we're referred to as the Valentine surveyors because we had our induction the week of Valentine. I think it was about a day after, a day before Valentine's Day. You understand? So that's me eating the cake, Valentine cake that we're given in the hall, and that's me receiving my SURCON seal, my SURCON certificate, and all that. So thank God for this. This was in 2014. Yeah, in Abuja, February 2014. It's something I can never forget, you know, because the journey from school to SURCON down to the induction is something that I cannot say totally here. So preparing for the SURCON examination, first things first, what did I do? This is my story. I don't know about any other person. Is that I obtained the recent SURCON examination guideline booklet. It's a green book. I don't know if we have I don't know if you know, if you've seen the book, but I'm sure they would have updated it by now. But then the most recent was the 2012 guideline. And after getting the guideline, I went through it. I decided to see, okay, fine. So people have gone ahead of me. They had their own folios. So I wanted to see what they had done. And I saw many similarities in content. I saw so many same. Let me put it that way. So many same. And I felt that there are just so many similarities. I mean, I've always been an original person. My dad, my mom brought me up that way. Do your thing, be original. Don't always want to have to copy people. Don't always want to have to do things people's way. If it's something you want to do and it's unique to you, do it. And it's the right thing to do, do it. So that's the way I've always been through my school days till now. So I like to just do what is right, and I do what is the right thing for me to do and follow my own path. You get, so I saw the remaining similarities, then I knew, okay, fine, this wasn't going to work, because I knew there was something wrong. So I decided to do something quite different. I made up my mind to follow my own path. And this also rubbed off on my choice of projects for my SURCON examination. What do I mean by that? I was always hearing from here and there from those in the Sojourners office, those in public practice, private practice, that, oh, don't do mapping, don't do this. If you do this, you will fail. They don't really know, the examiners don't really know it or not. I'm like, but it's in the examination guidelines. So if it is there, then that means they should have professionals that would examine me in that regard. So if you're saying I shouldn't do mapping, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, I should just do the topo and just write on topo, then it means I should just work with a particular script, and I can't do that. It's my SURCON examination, and I want to do it right, guided by SURCON. I strictly use the SURCON guideline as the main basis for preparing for my folio. Yes, I saw so many similarities, and it didn't help me. You understand? It was a bit confusing. So I was like, what's not the standard? There is a guideline, just work with it. So that was what I did, first things first. So my selection was based on my interest. Of course, for me, in the surveillance fair, mapping has always been my thing. I always love to map. I like to just take satellite imageries, auto photos, and just create something beautiful out of them. Create thematic maps, multi-purpose maps. I love map making. I love to speak to people using maps. I love to share my own stories using maps. You get, so mapping was my main discourse, not doubt about it. And of course, I mapped the whole of Ikeja. It's a size of 51.9 square kilometers. It was a lot of work. As a matter of fact, in the course of my privilege, mapping took like 3 to 4 months. You get, because I wanted to detail everything. And when I told my mentor, then I was like, sir, this is what I use my main mentor said. Well, go ahead. It was the only one. It was the only one that told me, go ahead. Yeah, every other person that was sharing. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
So it was the only person that told me, go ahead. If it is something you want to do it. You get, all I needed to do was to what? Go to the guideline. SURCON has a guideline. Don't joke with it. Forget about whatever you're hearing. Go to that guideline and read it word for word. Understand the details of the guideline and apply it to your preparatory process, because it would work against you if you do not. Yes, you could have a very good write-up, a very good whatever, but then again, if it doesn't work with the guideline, it doesn't make any sense. For maps, for example, there are different kinds of symbologies that are used for your church, your mosques, and all that. There are different symbologies for different types of roads, your trunk A, trunk B, and what have you. You get this something for the expressway, there's something for the dual carriageway. You get, so I knew all that. I went to the Federal Service Office and I got the old maps. I got the updated map. The one I got was for 1995 or something. The latest they had there, I think, was for 1995. Of course, from then to 2013, a lot has happened. You get, so I couldn't have, but I needed a base for what I wanted to do. And I saw all the symbols, how they did their church, the mosque. I recreated everything, just like Surveillance and Elias and I said. You have to know how to sketch, you have to know how to draw, you have to know how to create something out of nothing. So I created the symbols all over again digitally, because they were more of analog things, then, because I created all those things digitally and I put them in my map. Of course, ArcGIS, Ilways, and all the softwares, QGIS and whatever, they have all their own symbols, but then again, that's not SURCON standard. Even your clients that want you to map, that's not SURCON. When we're even doing this as a proposal for some people, then when I was doing my privilege, you get, they had their own, they had their own standards, you get, but then again, that didn't work for SURCON. So I had to work with SURCON standard, okay? Of course, so that was my main discourse. So I did everything down to the way they wanted. As a matter of fact, for those of you that are going to be doing mapping, whether it's a major or a minor project, you have to have a base map, because you're not the first to map Ikeja. You're not the first to map wherever. Even if you are the first, you get what I'm trying to say. There has to be something you of course, you're going to get satellite imagery quite updated to my folio. People telling me that there was nothing to really write a map. It didn't make any sense, because there was a lot to write for me. I had about 96 to 98 pages of what report on mapping. You understand? So I think you should do it if you want to. So of course, topographical surveying, layout survey, perimeter survey, and of course, roots survey, longitudinal sectioning or profiling. You get, I kind of ranked it in line with how I enjoy the whole surveying process. Of course, don't get me wrong, I love root survey, even though it's last on the list, but I love mapping more than the others. Yeah, because there's something about mapping that gets to me. You can think out of the box. You can do so many things with it. You understand? You can even create some kind of analysis from just one map you create that communicates a solution to people that need the solution. You understand? So I love a lot of it. I did a lot of mapping and GIS. So I'm surprised when people tell me, don't do that in your folio, you would fail. I did all that and I passed. You understand? So I think it's more about what you are doing. You have to do the work. Somebody shouldn't be doing it for you. You should be the one doing it yourself. You understand me? You get, even if somebody like our daddy has said, even if somebody chooses to write for you, at least you have to know the principles of what you are doing. You get, how can you create a map and you don't even know anything about map projection parameters? Well, what are you doing in surveying? How can you say you're creating a topographical survey and you don't even know anything about the coordinate system you're working with? You don't even know what the UTM, this means. You have to know those things. That's why you're professional. That differentiates you from a zombie, as far as I'm concerned. You understand? So you have to know that for you to actually do well as a professional, even after you get your seal. Now, so I did topographical survey and I did layout, I did perimeter, and I did route survey. And the funny thing is, in my practice in the past 10 years, yes, 10 years since induction, it's 10 years already. The major challenges that have come to me, or the major needs, of course, I've gotten some perimeters. I've never gotten a layout survey. I don't have a layout of my own. So I don't know, maybe I'll have someday. Okay. Topographical surveys, I've done it, some of that, but I've done some major works in route survey and of course mapping. Maybe because even for some of the other things I do now, like water modeling, flood modeling, everything connects, because if you're going to work on getting a drain, adjoining a road, there has to be some route survey. I didn't really like the whole, right? So that's one. Then, yeah. Then, yeah, let me move on. I followed the first presentation. So on that day, I arrived very early. I was the fourth on the list of those that were to be examined by my panel. I think there were about 20 on my panel. Okay. There were about 20 on my panel. I thought I was early, but there were already 3 people there, before me. So it was based on first come, first serve. As you come, you write your name and against, the list of those that are coming for that particular panel, and then you go for your defense. It was an amazing experience. I was asked some unexpected questions. Very important too. Business of mapping principle. Now, just because you call them old school, okay? Just because you think that they are old or they didn't have anything like all the core stations we have now, GNSS that we have now, some robust acoustic underwater sensors that we have now for hydrographic surveying. Just because they didn't have ArcGIS then, they didn't have ArcGIS Pro then, they didn't have all those things, doesn't mean they don't know the principles of what you are doing. They asked me about principles, and if there is something that some of the people that a few people that have actually tutored me in this profession, including surveyors and Elias, is the principles of what you are doing. Yes, even if you hold the GNSS today and you can pick 1 million points you get in 1 hour, what are you doing? Do you know what you are doing? Do you know why you are doing what you are doing? Do you know why there is a need for you to do what you are doing? That differentiates you from the zombie. You know how to come out of them because you know the principles behind what you are doing. That's it. So in my opinion, they asked me those questions. Of course, to the glory of God, I was able to answer them. If I should ask now, why do we have the false system and the false nothing as part of our map projection parameters? Some surveyors don't know that. And the simple thing is because we don't want to have negative Cartesian coordinates. That's basically it. Yes, you can choose to not go ahead and explain the scientific reason behind that. But then again, the X and the Y, if it's negative, it's more confusing for people to understand positioning. So you can now add that value so that from a specific point, you can have positive values. So more like you are indirectly shifting the origin, even though we have it already, but you're indirectly shifting the origin so that you can have an idea of coordinates that actually positive in value. That's basically a summary behind your forces and your force nothing. But some people don't really know that. And then you see some of these things on their maps. So the question is, you have to know, because they asked me that question. As a matter of fact, it was a lecturer that asked me that question. I answered the question. You get, so you have to know why you are doing that. You get, another person asked me about because mapping was my major, so more of the questions came from mapping. Asked me about satellite imagery. If I used an iconos imagery, of course, an iconos imagery, false color, it was a 1 meter resolution imagery. Okay, why did you use that? How were you able to get points for georeference? And of course, it came auto-rectified and georectified, meaning the vendor had done much of the work for me already. So I didn't need to auto-rectify or georectify myself. But then again, I had to georeference because I was reporting in another slightly different coordinate system. So I needed to actually georeference. So of course, so if you georeference, how did you go about it? What did you do? And I told them why. I told them how I selected my points of georeference. Of course, if you did not do that work, you can't explain it. There's not, and these are very simple principles that look simple and everything. But then again, if you look at yourself in practice, like, oh, Mama, I don't know this thing. I don't even know why. That's where professionalism comes in. You have to know why you are doing it. You have to know why it is what it is. Because if you don't know, they won't take it seriously. They may not need to go very far and start asking some very big questions and be ready for those giant questions. No, it's usually the principles. And if you don't even know the principles, then where is, well, that means you didn't do the work yourself as far as I'm concerned. Or you were just holding the instruments and just participating without understanding the rudiments of what you were doing. So we should know what we are doing. It's very important. I was asked questions based on current affairs, FIG, and sports. However, I did not do well when he asked me about sports like football. I'm not a sport. I am not a sports person, okay? I am not a football person. I am not, you get, of course, I was just doing guesswork. The man was like, don't worry, Hudson. You've done very well. You've done excellently well. But then again, you just don't know sports, so don't answer anything. So I kept my mouth shut. I didn't really know much about sports. But then again, like, so we asked the last as I said, they can ask you different things. They can ask you, they even went ahead as asking me questions regarding the business of surveying. Yes, because if you have the map, okay, fine, and you were doing it for another company, they asked me the business around that. Okay, so thankfully I handled that project myself, and I was able to find out more about this client or these people from my supervisor. You get what I'm trying to say? So I was able to know more and say more, you get. And that was how they were able to do it. If like this person actually did this work, you get, let's not talk too much. And as funny as it sounds, you get, I was asked to ask a question or make comments or ask questions if I wanted to. And of course, I made comments on the structure of SURCON, on how SURCON does their whole examination thing, and of which I would advise that it should be more authentic, because if it's just copy and paste, anybody can just come into school, do some PGD, do some whatever, come and write SURCON, and all of us are calling ourselves professionals. You get, which in my opinion doesn't look good. You get, if it's a professional, it should be a fully baked professional that's coming on board. You get, so they should look into thankfully he said it already, so we asked him that. I actually suggested that they should look into plagiarism issues, because everybody's just copying and pasting each other's work. So what are we really doing? What are we learning? You get, so somebody that has been in the bank for 10 years can just come because he studied surveying, just come and just do his privilege and just copy and paste and also get registered and go back to his bank job. I'm not saying he shouldn't. I'm not saying I'm trying to fight for space, you know, or there's competition, too much competition. No, that's not it, because I'm not in competition with anybody. I know my own, I know what I'm doing, you get, so I'm not afraid of competition. But the point is this: if we don't present ourselves well before clients, it's an issue. You get, they'll begin to see me the same way. I've been practicing for like over 10 years now, 10 years, you get, so I have met different kinds of clients, and they begin to ask me, are you sure you're a surveyor? I said, what do you mean by, am I sure I'm a surveyor? You want to see my SURCON certificate? I said, no, because you are different in your presentation, you are different in your reporting, you are different in your branding. Yeah, because you're a surveyor, you have to be a 360 surveyor, not someone that just wants to open a corner shop and start signing plans. Even if you're going to sign plans, at least know what has been done in the work before you put your signature and make some peanuts out of it. Know what has been done in the work you're signing. That's the truth, you get. So we have to stand out. And as funny as it may sound, everything took just 20 minutes in my defense. Both my question, because I asked them a question, I asked each of them on the panel, why did you do surveying? I mean, why surveying? There must have been a reason you chose surveying and geoinformatics. Why surveying? Why geomatics? Why that? And they started telling me their life history, each of them. It was an amazing experience, because that took like half of the time. So the 10 minutes was just principal questions and general questions that they wanted to see if I really did it. So people telling me that this men, they don't really know, they actually would know. They may not know the rigors of new technology, but they know the rigors of the principles that work behind this technology. And like Daria said earlier, it started from the analog. They transform all these things to make it easier for us to use now. So just because you can easily go somewhere and just put your Genesis in a place and do something, it's because of the ease that technology has brought to us. But then again, it follows some certain mathematical principles and what have you that makes it work the way it works. So you have to know the principles. You have to know, go to first principles and know those foundations very well before you're not adding other thing on top of it. Foundation is very key in what you are doing. So it lasted just 20 minutes and I walked out. Of course, before me and after me, people were there for like 1 hour. I don't know, I really don't know, but I felt that. And according to the statement of one of the surveillors on my panel, it said your folio has actually explained itself. So even when you are not there, it should be clear. Your communication should be clear. What you are saying should be clear. Your technical terms should be used correctly, like our daddy has said. So don't rush your folio. Take your time and make sure that what you have in the folio is clear. And don't be too complicated with your words. No, you can use simple but very clear words. You get, so that's it. So this is my advice. Get the updated SURCON guideline. Don't even try to work outside the guideline because that's already a journey to failure. Get it. Follow the guidelines thoroughly. I did that. I read it from front page to the back page. That's why I know the color, I know how it was branded and everything. So, so read it because it would really be important for you to forget about people's folios for now. I don't know when your exam will be. I think it's going to be in October from what I was told by your deputy chair. But you still have time now to review what you have. Don't waste that time. Don't take any chances. Do the needful and review. Now, attend the preparatory workshops and ask questions. For the folio, of course, I did. I attended the one in Yaba Tech then. It was championed by Sofia Ojo. I don't know if he's still there. I don't know. But I didn't go for any Cardinal. I didn't go anywhere else. I did not do all that. I just felt since I had done what was in the guideline and I had done the work myself and above all, I trust God to help me. I would pass. I was very sure I would. You get, so that's what is important. But you should go to the workshop because you will learn. All right. Start preparations and compilations very early. Please do that. I think I made a mistake in this aspect because I wanted to map from scratch for my major project. Of course, the other projects, they were already available. All I needed to do was convert them to SURCON standard. That's another thing you have to know. Just because a client says, okay, fine, do this color for me, do this color for me, and all that. That's not SURCON color for the exam. That's a SURCON standard. So you have to convert all that to SURCON standard. You get, at least because they ask those questions. You have to check, look at your drawings and whatever you get. So you have to convert all those codes, all those colors, the aesthetics and whatever to SURCON standard. That is what is obtainable for the exam. You get, so start preparations and compilations very early. I know I delayed by a month, yes, but the good thing then was that they had enough time before the exam. So you only pay 5,000 naira every week then. I don't think that opportunity is there now, but then if you are late, under the registrar, under Winston Ione's, Winston Ione's leadership as a registrar, yes, he gave us that time. Yes, he said, okay, fine, 5,000 every week. So I paid 20,000 naira. Of course, part of the delay was because I was also working to help people in the office. There were 3 of us that were going for the exam, but I paid for late fee. My boss Civil said, don't worry, stay and at least tutor some of the other ones so that you can also submit together. You get, but I don't think you would have the opportunity now. So start on time. By now, you should have a complete folio. By now, you should have a draft, ideally. If it is October, there is the exam, they should already have a complete draft by now. That's what I feel. You get, so select projects that you can write about. That's very important. You have to select projects that you can write about. And if you really were part of the project, there will be something to write about. You were part of the project, so there should be something. You should be able to meet the number of the word count that SURCON is requesting for. You guys should be able to meet that word count. So be detailed but clear. Daddy had already said it, be detailed, but you have to be clear. I have to go to pick your folio and understand it without your input, without you coming, without me even asking you. It should be clear to me what you're trying to talk about. It should be clear to me what you're communicating to me. If I'm an examiner, I would first of all look for that clarity. If it's not clear, why read it in the first place? You get, it has to be clear. You understand? It has to be clear so that the difference will not be too long. That's the truth. You get, if it is clear and they ask you and you did the work yourself, they would only want to clarify if you did it. That's all. That's it in my opinion. So be clear. Avoid the necessary repetitions. I'll just say repetition, copy, paste, download this, do this. Yes, you can put it in one project in my opinion, but If you had used the same instrument in the other project, why copy and paste it again for the other project? It didn't make any sense to me. So avoid unnecessary repetition. If you have to repeat something, fine, but be very sure if you really need to repeat it in another project. Be creative and orderly. Yes, for me, I like colors, I like diagrams to explain what are my thoughts. So if there are diagrams connecting to what I'm discussing, I feel that without even me being with you, you begin to imagine what I did on site. That's the way I do my own. I don't just do text, no. I explain, okay, fine, the dimension of the pillar is this. I show the dimension. I do a sketch of the pillar, a colorful sketch, showing something, put pictures, show the dimensions, put in pictures and everything. If it is a topo, I carried out a perimeter leveling. I will show you the direction of how I moved clockwise and what have you. I just like doing that to get, even in my own reports too, as a professional. So I explain in detail and I try to be creative. Good. So be original, like I've said before. Don't copy and paste. You could get caught. Be careful. It happened to two friends of mine that I know. Actually, they had their exams after, I think 2 or 3 years after mine. And they were caught. As a matter of fact, they were even on the same panel. That's how bad it was. They were on the same panel and they had the same project text. The content was the same for 2 of the projects. The only thing that changed was the location. Was the same description, was the same. When I even said myself, I was like, how do you want to come out of this? I know it was kind of resolved. I don't know how it was resolved. I don't know the penalty and whatever, but then again, it happened. So don't think that because it's panel, they will not put you in the same panel. They might put you in the same panel. It can just work against you. So make sure you are detailed. Make sure you do not copy and paste, okay? And if there's going to be a plagiarism check, God help you, because it will be a disaster if they send it back to you and you have to start again. It's not something I wish anybody to do twice. So just do it right once. That's the truth. Okay, so be strong, don't be afraid, don't panic. Because I know a lot of people that were panicking. I even know a lot of people that that I'm like, just relax, just do the right thing, okay? You don't have to panic, you don't have to be scared, you'll succeed. Just do the right thing and start early. Don't ever assume your examiners do not know much. Don't assume they will not read all the pages of the report. I know why I said this because one of my examiners said, Hudson, go to page 4. I will never forget. And then when he said that, I remembered what one of my senior colleagues said. She said that before her turn, there was somebody that went in and the first thing they asked him was, go to page 26 of your folio. It was not in his folio. Page 26 was not in his folio, meaning he didn't even go through his folio after he submitted, meaning maybe he didn't even do it himself. And when this realized there was no page 26, he went from 25 to 27, was looking for page 26. The examiner was like, why is page 26 in your folio? Because even the flow of thoughts, the communication is not connecting. Well, so where is it? It was because of, they didn't even ask him anything, they just told him to get out. That was the word they used, get out. And he failed. So go through your folio. Do it yourself, okay? Be sure. Don't ever think doing. And when he did it to me, page 4, and I went to page 4. Thank God, page 4. Oh, I'm there. It's there. You get. So he said I should read what is there. So I read it. He said, okay, fine. He said map production. I said, so why is it a production? And I explained. As a matter of fact, that was the only question he asked me. I said I explained, and I even gave him a detailed presentation of what it is and why it is what it is. And he was really impressed. He said, okay, no problem. That's my question. And he went, it was the other two, the lecturer, of course, lecturers don't always want to ask many questions. They are well, and it's original of River State then that asked me more questions, you understand? So they want to be sure you even did the work or you went through it. That's the truth. So you have to go through your folio. I just said it, go through your folio before the defense, okay? Go through it before your presentation. So if there are errors, if there are mistakes, you can correct them, hold a corrected copy, and when they are pointing it out, you can say, yes, you've noticed this error, but then don't have too many errors, because if you're having too many errors, that's a fail in my opinion, because you didn't even take your time to do it right, because I know of another senior colleague that told me that he had errors, and that was why he failed. Of course, he passed his written, but then he had errors. He rushed his folio and he had errors and he failed. Of course, there's an amount of error that should be there, but then some kind of big errors, some kind of very clear errors, it shouldn't be in your folio if you did it yourself. You understand me? So it means some people didn't really go through their folios. Okay? So go through your folio before the defense. If there's a mistake on a drawing, something that you can hold a copy, you could be given the, the chance to explain yourself, you get, and then apologize and whatever, I don't know. But I didn't have that experience really. But go through the folio, because I know a few people that did that, they corrected themselves, they went with it, they pardoned them and they allowed them to just go. You get, but then again, some people may not, but you have a better chance if you go through your folio, note all the mistakes, have a corrected copy with you, and hold your drawing. If it's a mistake on it, hold it. You're supposed to even hold all the drawings and hold the corrected one in case they ask those questions. You understand me? So be presentable. That has already said it. For me, I just think you should just go English. Just wear your suit. Wear suits. Now, how much is a suit today? 50,000 naira. You can get a fairly okay suit. You get, and just wear that. That's what I will. Of course, I have my own native or whatever, but then I just wore the suit and I just went there and did the thing and left. You can do your best. You know if you have done all the right things you should ideally do to succeed.
So, what I enter here?
You will know for yourself if you've done what you're supposed to do. Nobody has to tell you. You will know. Like I knew, because I had sleepless nights. I was not just assist. I was not working on my own. I was also assisting. Not that I was doing it for them, but I was assisting them to understand. Because then again, some people don't really have that command of English and whatever to be able to put things, words together. You have to also assist and lend a helping hand. And I've been doing that since my own folio. I've been that every year. Apart from the times I went abroad for my research, I went abroad for my studies and all that. But other times I have had people to come to my office to ask questions and all that. So I knew I had put a lot into it. So you would know. It's not about the money now, also about, the understanding of what you have done. You have to understand it. And just ace the thing once and for all and move on. But one more thing, while preparing for your folio, don't forget to prepare for the written exam. I know this session is not for written exam, but please don't prepare the folio so much that you forget you have to read for your laws and you have to write the essay. I don't think that because essay is about English, it's not something you don't need to prepare for. You have to prepare for it. You have to know how to write. You have to know the kind of essay you should be writing. If they ask you a question, is it an argumentative essay? Is it narrative? You have to know the kind of essay you are writing. And you'll be writing for the rest of your life as a professional. So you have to learn how to write. It's a must. Except you just want to be signing survey plans and remove, that's all you want to do. You get, and you're not accountable to clients of your own, except that. But even at that, you still have to know how to write. There's a lot you can do with your life, with your profession, with your skill. So you have to know how to package yourself and write. Then manage your time wisely and start preparing for the written examinations early. So for me, I did not really prepare early, but then again, because I had a grounded understanding of the law. So Adekoya, may so rest in peace, taught us the law in Unilag then, and I knew it like the back of my hands. He gave us all the laws. So it was like, that is why he's always upset. Then when he was setting the law exams, we always upset that Unilag students are not doing well in the SURCON exam, because what he gives us as the exam questions in final year then is practically the same as the SURCON exam then. So meaning he's always giving us, he's always changing a few things, but then it's more like practically the same question. So why can't they pass? And he has taught us, why can't they pass? And thankfully, I really knew the law so well then, because I was even the highest in the exam. I had 83% then. You get, so in school then. So I just needed to revise and also still do some additional reading. And I joined a few, small groups just discussing the laws, because the more you talk, the more you share, the more you discuss with people, the more it sticks in your head. It sticks in your mind. You get, it becomes a part of your life. You understand? You get, so please don't forget your written, because if you don't pass your written and you pass your folio, you have to come back next year. You have to pay the same money. So just ace everything once and for all and know that you have done it and you can relax. I wish all the SURCON examination candidates the very best. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, sir. It was nice listening to you. It's like you should not stop again. You continue to tell all these sweet stories.
We have to stop.
So we already have some questions in the chat box, and I know probably you or some of your Azan, Elias, FNIs will be able to attend to them, and some people are already raising their hands. So one person has been dropping this question over and over. Good evening all. In my synopsis, which has been approved already, my layout has 179 plots, but I want to use 54 plots, which I carved out for the purpose of this exam. for the project. Please, what's the best thing to do in this situation? Also, instead of 17 points in my perimeter survey, I typed 27 points. I need advice, please.
I don't know if Sobiela wants to answer that question, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Austin. Go ahead.
Okay.
If I knew they were inviting you, maybe I would have declined. You are my very good student now. I can always trust you.
Okay. I think SURCON has a guideline and it has a minimum number of plots you should actually report in your examination. So I don't think it is a problem. If, for me, I did exactly what they said, 30, I think it's 30 plots, if I'm not mistaken, but I reported 34, okay? So I think for the plots, that shouldn't be a problem because it's not less than the standard. I think so. It's not less than the standard, so I don't think that should be a problem. Then he said also, instead of 17 points in my perimeter, I typed 27 points. Well, that's, what do you mean by you typed? Is it in your synopsis? Is that what you mean?
Yes. He said
Okay.
he typed 27 points in his synopsis.
Why would you, I'm just wondering why you make that mistake. Well, I think what is important is this, whatever you're submitting must not be less than the SURCON standard. I know then they will say the perimeter distance should not be less than 1 point something kilometers or so, I think. So if it is less than, of course, you can't scale through, in my opinion. It should be the standard. You get, so confirm that and check it, and and of course, like Survey, as I said, you can also tell your supervisor to also put up a letter to this effect that because of the exam, we have to just do this and do that to get so, just so that the examiners can understand that, okay, fine, this was for the purpose of the exam, and this is why you did what you did. But then again, meet the standard. You cannot write a letter with your supervisor's influence and say, okay, fine, you want to do 20 plus because it's 20 you did. No, the standard is 30. If it is 30, you can't go below 30. That's the standard. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I don't know if Survey Elias has anything to add to that, sir.
So that basically is the case. You see, this is why we said, this is why I said earlier, sometimes you can be 1, 2, 3 under a supervisor and you are presenting a project. SURCON understands that, and that's why for somebody who is working in a layout of 170 plots, I choose to do just a few. My student who got this last year had to do the same for a big layout that we have somewhere in Lagos here, and it was acceptable. Of course, the standard has to be the standard, and you can't fall short of that. And the reporting have to be straightforward, such that they will know that you are just doing that out of the big chunk. And that is even better for you. If you present something bogus to the person going to read your folio, I mean, that's what we call in Yoruba, like you are trying to kill a fly with a sledgehammer. So that's very much another. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that submission. We really do appreciate it. So we have one other question here in the chat box before we take people that are raising their hands. The person is saying, in my synopsis, I mistakenly wrote a single instrument, DGPS. I think the person wants to write DGPS. So in all my projects, but I used total station in 2 of my projects, and they are submitted and the synopsis has been approved. Now, what can he do? Should he go ahead and use the total station as he has suggested in this question, sir?
So Austin, let me take this. You see,
okay,
I find it difficult for somebody to say he mistakenly reported that he did something. If he was the one who did it, then there shouldn't be any mistake in reporting that you use this instead of that. And this is why I said, presenting the folio is not a thing you just do overnight. It must have been a thing you had been piling up over some time. And then you now run through at the very last minute. I mean, at the time you are going to make the submission to see that what you have done is in order. I don't know how that is going to be, but it depends on maybe the supervisor will look at it. But in all honesty, if somebody comes forward to meet me with that, that will be my first suspicion. Why a wrong reporting of something you did right? Or why a right reporting of something you did wrong? I don't know how to handle such a situation. So the person can just hope for the best. Let him or her present. Oh, sorry, has the folio been submitted? That's the question.
Sir, it's only the synopsis that has been submitted, and he has specified the equipment he used for each project in the synopsis.
Oh,
So, and the
okay.
synopsis has been approved. So he's not saying that he mistakenly wrote DGPS in one of the project that he did with the preparation.
Well, okay, let me just say that there is nothing like mistakenly wrote. This is why you have to be detailed and intentional. However, by the time the project is being done and you do the proper reporting, I think that can override whatever it was you said you made as a mistake earlier. So do a proper project reporting and be ready to actually defend that, and the event that your examiner is comparing your synopsis with your folio.
Exactly.
So good luck.
Thank you, sir. I think you've answered that wonderfully, sir. So there's
Yeah.
another question here which says, what is SURCON standard color for sports heights, sir?
For spot height, I think it's a shade of brown. I don't know. It's brown, and that's what I remember. I don't know if they've changed that now. You get, but for my submission, I did something brown then. You get, but then again, I think SURCON has. I think you should just talk to SURCON because they would have all this color codes, even for the street guide map. I just went straight to Federal Surveys and I just picked their base map. You get, they had an updated street guide map for 1996 year. So I picked the color codes, the yellow for this, the green for vegetation, the roads, the red for expressway, the white with a black line for the road. And I just used it and I just recreated my symbology in ArcGIS. That's what I did. You get, so they have these things. I think you should be asking. You get, or you can as well talk to your supervisor to also come ask whoever. You get, but I know that if you go to them, they'll have some of these booklets for some of these color codes and these standards.
All right. Thank you, sir. So I can see that there are some hands up before, but I can't find any again. I don't know if any other person on this call has any question for our speakers today. Okay, Bello Bolaji. I don't know if it's a man. Oh, yeah, Bello Bolaji, you can have the floor.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, concerning the question, the person that made a mistake, I remember the preparatory workshop that we had in Unilag. So they said if there is any mistake in synopsis, it can be corrected and sent as an email. So you wait for approval. But like what?
I think we lost the person.
Yes. I think probably his network. But
okay,
I think
somebody is saying my supervisor says SURCON no longer accept brown or black for sport heights. Well, I don't know. I wrote my own exam over 10 years ago. So I wouldn't know what is now obtainable for the guidelines again, because I don't really have much of a business with SURCON exams anymore than to maybe I'm called to be examiner. Then if I'm called to be an examiner, then I'll have to go through the latest guideline, put it in my mind, make it a part of me, then use that as a basis to judge or to examine people that come for exams. You get, but what's it called? I don't know. I'm not sure what the latest thing is. So you can as well ask or confirm from SURCON, because they'll be in the best position to know that. Just be sure that you're doing the right thing, because when you go for the defense and you begin to present, you can't change anything at that point. That's it.
okay, thank you, sir, for that wonderful answer. So I don't know if we still have anybody on this call again that has any question to ask our speakers. Do we have any other question? Okay, I think that will be all. In the absence of, okay, I think I have a, okay, yes, Mr. Alabi Elijah.
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Alabi Elijah. Thanks for the lecture. I really appreciate that, sir. My question is this, sir. And in my perimeter, when we wanted to carry out the job, so we established 3 control points, which is a means and control station. But the control we established on site form part of the perimeter beacon due to the stream beside or along the perimeter line. So my supervisor also said I should establish the perimeter, let it be part of the baking dice. So I want to confirm, I want to know, maybe it's acceptable because that is the way I did it, just in order to use the total section to run the traversing.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, you must have, with regards to what you have said, I'm thinking you must have extended control to the site, maybe using RTK, or how did you do it?
Yes, I extended control to the site using the RTK DGPS static.
DGPS, okay. Oh,
Okay.
that is beautiful. I mean, so, and those controls form part of the boundary at the perimeter of the property.
Yes, sir.
That's fantastic. As long as you can come up with the evidence that you use the DGPS to extend control to sites, and then you now went through all of that. That's acceptable.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Just to be clear, you said you use static observation, right?
Yes, I spent like 30 minutes on each control.
Yeah, but that's ideally what you should be doing. No problem. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that answer. Do we have any other question, please?
Yes,
this is the best time to ask.
Okay, good evening, Surveyor Hassan, and good evening, Surveyor Hudson. Thank you for the wonderful presentation, sir. My question is this, on one of my minor, on my synopsis, where there is size and length of points, I gave the result as 9.66 hectares. Then going forward to my summary of result, I mistakenly, although the actual result is 4.88, which I captured on the summary of result, but I mistakenly put it there at the size there at 9 point something. So I don't know. And all these things appeared on the synopsis. Is there any backup for this? It was an oversight anyway. I was supposed to actually put in the 4.8 hectares, but mistakenly, maybe while I was doing the synopsis, I mistakenly captured it as 9 point something, but both of them are reflecting on the synopsis. So I don't know. I need more clarification on this. Thank you, sir.
Dear colleague, in all honesty, I don't find such a situation funny, honestly. And this is why in surveying, for instance, when you carry out a job, somebody else carries out a check. And it will not be out of place to have this in what you are doing. However, since it's the synopsis that is gone, and then you are doing the proper reporting as it has been advised, send a mail ahead to the effect that there is a slight change in what you are presenting, and this is what is coming with your folio. I'm hoping that SURCON will accept that and let your folio go. That's what I can say about it. But honestly, exercise care. Exercise care, that's very important. Austin, you want to say something to that?
Yeah, I know. I think you've said it all. So basically, I think I don't think, like you have said earlier, there shouldn't be mistakes really, because if you are taking your time to put up the synopsis, you understand me, and you gave it your time and you clarified, there shouldn't be. It's assumed that you've done the project, even if it's something that you are still going to work on. But at least you should have an idea of what you were given in the brief. You get, there must have been a brief from the client. What's the size and everything? So if this proposed project that is coming, I want to use it for my SURCON, then it should be clearly written. There shouldn't be like mistakes. Like there's some mistakes that shouldn't be considered mistakes, in my opinion. Like the size of what you want to do, it shouldn't be a mistake, because you must have read the guideline to know what you're supposed to submit for your SURCON. That's why I said read that guideline, know it like your name. If you know that this is the size that is expected of SURCON in the exam, then that should be nothing less than that should be your synopsis. If you know this is what you're supposed to do based on SURCON, that should be reflected in your synopsis. That's what I feel. So I agree with Sabias and Elias on that. There shouldn't be like mistakes. We shouldn't be, it shouldn't be, ideally. But then again, if it is possible to review what you have submitted as suggested by somebody suggested that just now, you get them, please go ahead and do that on time, so you are sure you are not going to have any issues when you are before the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. It has been a wonderful time with Surveyor Azan Elias FNIS and Surveyor Acing Irigwe. Thank you so much for giving us all this advice and sharing your experience with us. So as we are closing, I will take Surveyor Azan Elias first for his general comment for the SURCON candidate for this year, sir. While we take Surveyor Acing after him. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. One can say it all. Along the line, you still keep on learning to see what exactly it is you are doing. However, I want you to go to the exam, to the interview, confident that you are going to make it. But like I always say, man gets nothing but what he prepares for, but what he strives for. You have to strive for excellence, and excellence comes with diligence, being detailed, and in all of these, you have to be intentional that this is what you want to attain. But doing it the way of let my people go, it's not the best. That is mediocrity, and you don't wear that gap and look forward to achieving excellence. So while wishing you very good luck in these exams, please prepare like you are preparing as a professional to go and defend some projects proposal. While wishing you luck that you pass the exam, I want to beg of you candidates coming into the profession, honestly, we need to make it better. It's like a lot of us set out to pass the exam to open signature shop, and it's not the best. Perhaps you don't know what exactly the situation is. If some of us had opened that kind of signature shops in the past, perhaps there will not be the need for you guys to come in. And very importantly, when you open a signature shop, somebody who collects the job, collect the good money, because whatever we carry out as scale of fees, either we make it computerized or physical booklet, people out there are in the know that this is what the surveyor takes. So by the time that person takes it and comes to you with a pittance, saying, after all you do is sign. But you signing it, you are carrying whatever liability that there is on that job. So at the end of the day, you come out as a professional and you don't really have anything to show for it. Climb the ladder gradually. You get there. You get your good clientele that will trust you to handle their jobs eventually. But if what you are going after is, that one of these past presidents is using a Lexus, in the next 2 years, I want to use his Lexus. You get a Lexus, so, but I hope you are not going to meet the nexus of court attendance to defend a lot of terrible data that you are converted into maps and that are causing problems for you. I do go to court, but I go to court once in a while. But I know some younger colleagues who are busy going to court, going to defend the terrible jobs that they are done. And I know of some colleagues whose jobs have been referred to me to do. I usually decline because one, ideally I shouldn't, but one of the things I do is to be on the neck of that colleague to see that he delivers to the client. If he doesn't deliver, then the client already has a bad image of the surveyor. And usually people will paint everybody with the same brush. Why am I saying all of this? I was taught that the strength of a chain is the strength of the weakest link. If some are doing it right and you are doing it wrong, you that bad link will break the chain. And if the terrible way in which you are doing your business will affect my business, then your business becomes my business. It's not the best that you get out and every time they are taking you to meet the ethics committee for one malfeasance or the other. No, it's not the best thing. Be a professional. That's what you should be. Be a professional to the core, and you discover that your clients will respect you for it. I wish you the best, gentlemen and ladies. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful advice. We really do appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your resources, and we are very grateful, sir. Thank you. So we also will have you now for your general comments.
I feel like I shouldn't even say anything because Hassan has said everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, just do your best. You would know you have done your best if you really put in your heart into your SURCON folio. Do your best. Do your very best. If you have questions, please ask. Don't assume. If you are not sure of something, try and ask. You understand me? Even beyond this presentation. I mean, this presentation, this talk that we're having now. Do your best and try and be. You have to be a 360 surveyor, okay? Don't just be a surveyor that just wants to do things. That just wants to do things, okay, let's just do it the way it has been done. It'll be different, Try and do something different. That's always been my watchword. I like to stand out. I like to be different, doing something right, but different. You understand me? Do your best. I just wish you the very best. I mean, I went through it, I succeeded. Some other people have gone through it and they succeeded, and I'm sure you will succeed. Just do your best, put in your heart, okay? Put your heart into it, and God will help you. I'm wishing you all the very best. And as YSN Lagos, please keep doing the right thing. Keep doing your best in what you're doing. You get support YSN Lagos. Don't be the person that wants to bring down YSN Lagos. Be someone that wants to uplift and uphold the right values in YSN Lagos. Because as it is, YSN Lagos was not like this, you understand me? But thank God for the sacrifices some people have made to get it to where it is now. So let us keep doing our best. Let's not be found wanting. Let's be found doing what is right. All I wish is the very best. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful comment. We really do appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your experience with us. So before I give the closing remarks, I want everyone on this call that is writing the exam this year to type in on the chat box to appreciate our speakers for sharing their experience and knowledge with us. And I want one person to signify by raising his or her hand to thank them too, verbally. Please, do we have anyone that wants to take that among those people that are doing the exam this year, to thank them for the knowledge they have passed on to us this evening? Do we have anyone on this call that wants to give a general remark on behalf of others to our speakers? Are we indirectly saying that we have not enjoyed? Okay, Mrs. Akinola Abigail or Miss Akinola Abigail, I don't know. You have the floor, please. You can have the floor. Thank you. Akinola Abigail, I think your mic is on, but we cannot hear what you are saying. So probably Mr. Sonny Ayomide, you can take that. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I can't hear you. Okay. So if you do not have anyone to say thank you to our speakers, I would say it on our behalf. So on behalf of every SURCON candidate, okay, I think I have a hand now. Miss Oluwaseunfunmi Adeniji, yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, sir, and Xavier Elias and Xavier Acing. Thank you very much, sir, for putting us through. Thank you for helping us, yes. And we really appreciate your time. We appreciate your guidance. And on behalf of everybody on this call, I want to say a very big thank you. We are grateful and we are, okay, I don't want to promise on behalf of everybody, but I want to say that we are going to make you proud by God's grace. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
Okay, thank you. That's Ms. Oluwa Seunfunmi Adeniji. That's the Media Committee Chair of YSN Lagos. So we want to say thank you to everyone that is on this call also for joining in, and wish you the very best. So for the SURCON candidates that are in Lagos, we have a WhatsApp group that we have created for the sole purpose of this SURCON examination, where you can share and rub minds together and also ask questions, so that, you know, as our speakers have said, nobody's an island of knowledge. You need to rapport with other people to be informed. So in order to stay informed, it is best for you to be part of this WhatsApp group that we have created. That's where we disseminate informations and every other thing that we need as regards to our SURCON examination this year. So I encourage you all to signify on the group. There are links that we have sent out that you can use to join the group. So you can always join, and then we'll communicate well with you. So on behalf of the state chair, who is presently kind of busy, so Sylvia Adegoke Samson, I want to say a very big thank you to our daddy. Always, he has always been there for us. Anytime we go and meet him, he's always there to answer us. Sylvia Azan Elias FNIS. Thank you for always answering us and always ready to share your wealth of experience with us. We are very grateful for that. And to our very own Sylvia
Anytime.
Thank you, sir. And our very own Folio, and thank you for always having time for us, having time to listen to us, having time to cater for our needs, and always finding time for us out of your busy schedule to attend to us. You know, thank you so much. We are very, very grateful, sir. Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you.
So, on this note, I declare this program closed. Thank you. But if some of us that are writing the exam want to stay on the call to connect with one or two people that are writing the exam this year, you can do so. You can network. So thank you, and see you as surveyors. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, my honorable. Yeah, my honorable Vice Chairman. We are great. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. We really appreciate.
You really did a great work for us. Thank you very much.
So the recorded session will be uploaded on the YouTube channel. So we can always check in on the YouTube channel if we need to refer back to this webinar. So the recorded channel record will be uploaded, and we'll share it on that group too. Thank you.
Okay, sir.